Ronald Reagan was an actor, a sports announcer, and a lecturer, but nobody ever expected that he could hold an important political office, let alone President of the United States. But he fooled them all. He began his political career as a liberal Democrat supporter of Franklin Roosevelt, but later turned Republican and later became the leader of America's conservatives, serving as governor of California before being elected the 40th President of the United States. He was born in Tampico, Illinois on February 6, 1911, the son of John Edward Reagan, a shoe salesman, and Nell Wilson Reagan. He learned to read at the age of 5 by watching his mother read aloud. Living in Dixon, Illinois, Reagan played basketball and joined the high school track and swimming teams. In 1928, he entered Eureka College in Eureka, Illinois. He had a partial scholarship and earned the rest of his board and tuition by washing dishes in a fraternity house. He worked in the summers as a lifeguard. His interest in theater, which began with his participation in high school plays, continued at Eureka College. Having decided that he wanted a career in show business, he first became a sports announcer at a local radio station. He later moved to station WHO in Des Moines, Iowa, where he covered Big Ten football games and Major League Baseball games. While he was covering spring training of the Chicago Cubs in California, a friend put him in touch with a Hollywood agent who in turn arranged for him to have a screen test. He was awarded a $200 a week contract with Warner Brothers. Between 1937 and 1964, he appeared in over 50 films. He is best known for his roles in King's Row and Knute Rockne All-American. For 8 years, from 1940 to 1948, Ronald Reagan the divorce, he married another actress. Duty in the war. Poor eyesight disqualified him from combat service, but his movie experience led to an assignment with a unit engaged in making training films. As president of the Screen Actors Guild in 1947 to 1952, he fought communist influences in the Union. After joining the Republican Party in 1962, he championed conservative causes. Reagan's real political career began with his decision to run for governor of California in 1966. He ran against incumbent Edwin G. Brown, whom he defeated handily. He took office vowing to cut waste and corruption. While his budget actually increased, he did succeed in overcoming a huge state deficit and after 2 terms in office, provided California with a comfortable surplus. By now, his supporters were pushing him to make a bid for the presidency. His attempts to win the Republican presidential nomination in 1968 and 1966 were unsuccessful. In 1980, it was a different story. He swept the Republican primaries and was named at the GOP convention to run against the incumbent president, Jimmy Carter. With Carter's popularity on the wane, and with the rising tide of conservatism in the nation, Reagan won the election in a landslide. As president, Reagan set about to cut billions from the federal budget. His plan was approved by a Democratic House and a Republican Senate. But an effort to reduce taxes and make cuts in Social Security benefits ran into strong opposition. On March 30th, 1961, Ronald Reagan was shot in an assassination attempt as he was leaving a Washington hotel. Rushed to the hospital with a bullet in his lung, Reagan quipped to his wife, "Honey, I forgot to duck." And to the surgeons as he was wheeled into the operating room, "I hope you're all Republicans." He made a speedy recovery and returned to the White House.
Ronald Wilson Reagan, the only actor to hold the world's most powerful office. He ran for president with a clear vision of America and of the American dream.
through this golden door, under the gaze of that mother of exiles, has come millions of men and women who first set foot on American soil right there on Ellis Island, so close to the Statue of Liberty.
Reagan was a master of political images.
Above all, he was a two-term president who restored to the presidency some of its past glory, who made people again understand that this was a powerful force in American politics, and he was able to endear himself to the American people in a way that few would have thought possible.
He campaigned for lower taxes and smaller government.
It means taking hold of that government in Washington and squeezing the fat out of it and bringing it back down in size and power and taking the regulations and restrictions off the backs of industry and business in this country.
After a painful recession, the 1980s were marked by unprecedented economic growth and a soaring stock market. For some, greed was the driving force. Reagan believed America carried the burden of freedom and democracy in the world. He supported military action in the Caribbean and Central America. Defense spending skyrocketed. He took a hard line against the Soviet Union.
They are the focus of evil in the modern world.
Later, Reagan became more flexible, negotiating arms reductions in a series of summits with Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. The Iran-Contra scandal in 1986 was his greatest blunder. His administration secretly sold weapons to Iran. In exchange, they hoped for the release of American hostages. But Reagan is remembered for his courage and leadership. When the space shuttle Challenger exploded, Reagan comforted the nation.
Man will continue his conquest of space, to reach out for new goals and ever greater achievements. That is the way we shall commemorate our 7 Challenger heroes.
An eternal optimist, he handled illness and an assassination attempt with a sense of humor. Whatever history's final judgment on his presidency, Reagan left office in a glow of extraordinary popularity. Despite scandal and soaring deficits, American voters never blamed him personally.
We believe faith and freedom must be our guiding stars, for they show us truth, they make us brave, give us hope, and leave us wiser than we were. Our progress began not in Washington, D.C., but in the hearts of our families, communities, workplaces, and voluntary groups, which together are unleashing the invincible spirit of one great nation under God.